Slasher movie book. Let's see if the Prowler is in here. I always like to put J.A. Kurzweil to the test. Probably is, but we'll check. Here we go. Oh, there it is. On the prowl. On the prowl. The Prowler stars Vicki Dawson and is directed by Joseph Zito. Boy, it feels good to have another review where I get to mention Joseph Zito. If Joseph Zito could direct every slasher, that would be okay. First off, this will be a spoiler review. This is a really old-ass movie, so you should know better. This is the slasher movie book. Not getting paid at all. I just like telling my slasher fans that if you can get this book, get it. Or Gabriel Lewis actually sent me this book, Slasher Movies. Another really good one that I'm working my way through. But yeah, I mean, if you're a slasher fan, it's like a slasher encyclopedia. Everything is in here. I mean, look at all that great shit. It's awesome. But also, I'm doing multi-angle today with my new vlog camera. I figured, hey, why not? Go ahead and try it. So, you over there and you over there, listen up. But I believe, like maybe a month ago, I did a poll between The Prowler and another movie, which I can't remember at this moment. But I remember it was really close, and I said that The Prowler would be after that movie. And then there was just a huge Halloween explosion that happened, and I got lost in that whole mix. As a matter of fact, we had Hallow Scream last night with Dave McCoy. We watched the movie, and Cody Leach, and it was such a blast. Or as we watched the movie, would say Blasty Blast.
Sort of, it's got that dude. Listen, I watched him sitting in a room, like take out the accent and take it to like modern day talk, right? Dude, I watched him sitting in a fucking room, staring at the wall, not seeing the wall, looking past the wall. That's the moment, right? It's like looking past the wall, waiting for this night, inhumanly patient, and that's the one that does it.
Loomis being so great, Donald Pleasance. I'm going to move on really quick. I don't want to take all the time.
No, you're fine.
The fact that it always reminded me of Moby Dick. You know, it's kind of like, my name is Ismail, and I hunt Michael Myers. Michael Myers is fucking Moby Dick. Like, I mean, he's obsessed to the point of almost insanity.
I could not believe how awesome it was, how easy they made it, because I was nervous, but yeah, more views than I've ever had for a stream. I mean, 5-fold, and that's because of how awesome those guys are and how awesome the Halloween franchise is. And the fans of the franchise, they just love it. They love it, and they come in droves. So yeah, and I'm a Halloween fanatic. But anyway, back to what we're here for. We're going to talk about a good old early 80s slasher, The Prowler. I've never seen this movie, actually. Gabriel Lewis, one of my Patreon patrons, actually sent me the movie, which was very kind because I was just about to buy it myself. And I'll probably upgrade and get the Blu-ray here real soon, but I have the DVD, I watched it. The first thing you need to know is this is a Tom Savini work of art, really. I mean, Tom Savini has went on the record and stated that this is like some of the work that he's the proudest of, I guess you could say. But before we dig into the nuts and bolts, let's give you a quick plot synopsis. Most slasher movies, you don't need that big of a plot synopsis. As a matter of fact, this movie was built around the kills, really. But it starts out in the 1940s, and you know, everybody's gone to war at the time, and then this is where the Dear John letters, you know, became popular. And so it's a great premise to set up a good slasher. You know, at the beginning of the movie, our killer, the Prowler, he gets a Dear John letter from his wife or girlfriend, I can't remember, Rosemary. But originally this movie was going to be called Rosemary's Killer. Internationally, it was called Rosemary's Killer. And so we get our first kill at the beginning. Rosemary, she is at this graduation ball, and she is with this guy, and then the Prowler comes up with a pitchfork and right away sets the tone of what the kills are going to be like in this movie. They do not hold back at all. He drives a pitchfork right through like the back of the guy, and it goes through the girl, and it's glorious. As far as like slasher kills go, Tom Savini, you magnificent son of a bitch. This was beautiful. I am such a sucker for great slasher kills. That's why I love the slasher genre so much. The kills are just so fun in this movie. But that first one, it's a good one. It's a doozy. And then we fast forward 35 years to 1980. And wouldn't you know it, they're having another graduation ball. And you'd think they'd learned their lesson. So of course, the Prowler comes back a-prowling, and he goes around and starts picking off these teenagers one by one. Now, first off, there's nothing really too special about the cast in this movie, except for the leading lady, Pam McDonald, played by Vicki Dawson, who has kind of a striking resemblance to Amy Steele from Friday the 13th Part 2. And there's even a scene in this movie at the end where she's hiding under a bed, and there's this like rat coming around, and it's just like the scene from Friday the 13th Part 2. So that was kind of weird. But Pam McDonald, she is our main star throughout the movie. We are following her throughout the movie. She is the one that's setting up this graduation ball. And throughout the movie, she starts finding out all this information about this previous kill, Prowler kill, and, you know, starts putting the pieces together. And meanwhile, all the kills are happening. First off, let's jump into the kills, because there's a lot of iconic ones in this movie. First off, there is a scene where you have this couple, and the girl is in the shower. The guy's about to get in the shower with her, and then the Prowler comes behind him, grabs his head, and shoves a knife right through the top of his head, through his neck. And one thing I love about this kill, and all the kills really, is, you know, it's not quick. It takes its time. These are kills that the Friday the 13th franchise, especially the later movies, they should have went in this direction. And it's a shame that in the late 80s, the MPAA got just a wild bug up its butt and just started chopping all the kills. And this really was going on overseas, like in Germany and in the UK. As a matter of fact, the Prowler in those countries is highly censored. Luckily, the American version is not censored. But, you know, the camera stays there right on the kills, you know, gives you all the fat to chew on, shows you how much time and effort went into these kills. Really, most of the budget went into these kills. The next one that I really loved was the pool scene, where you got this girl swimming around in a pool. I just have this thing for kills that happen in a swimming pool. But you got this girl, she comes up to the side of the pool, and then the Prowler just kicks her in the head. And this is the actual scene that they use on the movie poster, just because of how iconic it looks. But if you remember in the first Friday the 13th, with Annie's kill at the beginning, how it was just a throat slit, this one is that on steroids. You know, the knife is like way deep in the throat, and it lingers. But I think by far my favorite kill is actually the shower kill. It's just insanity. You got the pitchfork, which we see in the first scene in the movie. The pitchfork goes into the stomach of the girl taking a shower. And that scene really just stuck out to me because of how authentic and real it looked. You know, it looked like Tom Savini was really trying to use practical effects in a way that almost like hid them from the audience. Like, you have to look around the scene to find the practical effects. He likes to use the real body parts as much as possible, and that's why it works so well. But again, this is another one of those scenes that just sits there and lingers for a while, and you get to really just watch the victim suffer. But Tom Savini just had a way about him, the way he handled his kills, that just feel different than any other practical effects person before or since. And I think those are the best people working in the business as far as practical effects go. You know, they really just have their stamp on what they're doing. And Tom Savini was like the best of the best. Now, as far as any cons for the Prowler, it drags big time. You can tell that this movie was built around those effects and those kills. But unfortunately, the story had to be padded quite a bit. And so there's a lot of scenes where you're really just waiting. You're waiting for the next kill. You know, it's typical 80s slasher fare. It's not like on the level of Halloween or anything like that. This isn't the greatest directing, although Joseph Zito knows what he wants to do as far as scares go, as far as kills go. You know, that's where he really shines. Friday Part 4 is a great example. And I think he really honed in his craft on Friday Part 4 in the storytelling department. in the characters department, because Friday Part 4 has much, much more memorable characters than the Prowler does. It's, you know, after you watch the Prowler, the only thing you really remember is the kills. But fortunately, the kills are some of the best of the genre. Really, really great kills. Also, I like the reveal of the killer at the end, which was really interesting because it made me think of this new Halloween movie, actually, how you have Myers coming back 40 years later. Well, really, this is what that is. This is a killer that comes back like 35 years later, so around that time frame. So when it's revealed that the killer is like an older guy, it was pretty damn interesting, actually. And refreshing. You know, that's not an angle that we see that often. I know What You Did Last Summer did that as well. I have no problem with older killers. You know, sometimes I think the movie can benefit from it. If anything, they're like experts in their craft. And also, I really enjoyed the look of the killer. I think this is like the closest to the killer in My Bloody Valentine. You know, they look very similar. But, you know, obviously he doesn't have a gas mask on. But I like the look of, you know, the soldier killer. It's almost like having Rambo as the killer in this movie. And, you know, this killer, he knew what he was doing. He was well versed in his craft. You could see him, you know, getting ready for his victims before the strike. So, because of how awesome these kills are, I'm going to give this like a low purchase worthy. You have to buy this movie if you're a slasher fan. If the story would have been tightened up quite a bit, then it would have been like a Trapped on an Island. So anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on the Prowler? Looking forward to hearing them. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free Fall Fridays. If you like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Drumdum out.